All RW down here in the Mountain Storm workshop making walnut target grips. Made a couple sets of them. I had an order from a lady in Canada with a medium-sized hand. She measured across her palm from knuckle to knuckle. Told me it was about between 3 1/4 and 3 3/8, 3 3/8, 3 1/4 and 3 3/8. And so what I've done is I've taken my profile that I have developed for my grips, right? And I've made sure that the distance in between there is right around 3 3/8, 3 5/16, so that her hand will fit really nicely inside this frame. What I do, I do a lot of little subtle things to make these fit your hand just right. One of them is that I sweep upwards with this trough, okay, to make a little more room. See how your hand kind of goes up into the grip and then comes down to the trigger. Okay. I also like to make a little divider between the index finger and all the other fingers that are gripping the gun. And what that does is it just lets this finger act more independently, and that's what you want with a target grip. And my hand is way too big. I have an extra large hand, so you can see I can just about cover this whole grip with my hand. So you can see there's a lot of meat up here, a lot of meat here, and that's what happens to make it all fit and work nicely. Now I always come up above the grip frame, and then I remove material to make it fit the main tube, right? And what that allows you to do is get your hand in the right place so that, look at that, your finger is perfectly centered on the trigger, and you still have some meat up there to support it. Likewise down there, so that basically she won't even have to be gripping the grip to have it in her hand. It's like a nice handshake. On the thumb side, again, a few more little subtleties here. Obviously I have the nice trough, and the trough is placed right where your hand would be. Now my hand again is way large for this, so I'm hanging way past the grip. But for her smaller hand, this will line her thumb up right across from her index finger. So those troughs, in a sense, are located symmetrically. Okay. Now I have a big knobby thumb knuckle. I do not believe that my lady shooter will have a knobby thumb knuckle, but if she does, she's ordered these raw, unfinished, so she can do a few little minor details like sculpting this out a little bit to make room for her knuckle if it's a hot spot, right? Or doing anything that she wants to make her fingers grip in there, including making even little finger grooves and things like that. Because I'm going to leave a little meat on the bone. These aren't done yet, they're in progress, but they're very close. I basically got all the power sanding out of the way. Now it's all hand sanding. And so at this point, the shape is what you want. And you can see they locate perfectly over the safety hole. You can see daylight through the screw hole. They have the two little detent holes that line up perfectly with the little pins on the frame. Get a nice wood to metal fit. And she can tailor this any way she wants. She can take this wood away. She can just grind it right off in a few minutes. Or she can work with it however she likes to dial it right into her hand. But I've done my best to shape this to her size and maintain all the details that I like of my profile. Like for instance, the secondary bevel right in here. I bring this trough down and over, like at an angle like this, just like your thumb does. And little things like that to just make it feel really special in your hand. I've already countersunk for the screws. And I do that before I do the final sanding, because if there's any chip out when I do my countersinking, then I can sand that chip away, right? And so these are very close to being done. They're not going to get any finish on them, which is a real shame, because I want to see these light up. I want to see them. I want to see what they look like. They have matching grain on the bottom. It's going to be difficult with one hand. I will try and show you here without dropping them. But yes, like book matched grain there. And the grain is so straight that it almost looks that way up top too, even though that's 4 inches down from the plank in each direction. So I had some real nice quarter sawn walnut, and it's going to look amazing when it's got finish on it. So much hand sanding to do. I've got to get all the lumps and bumps and all the cross grain scratches out, and I'll do that with 120. And then I'm going to leave the 220 on up to my client because she is ordering them unfinished. So there's no sense in me sanding them right up to the frame and then her deciding, oh gee, I wish I could change that one profile. And then you can't because you've got a bevel. See what I'm saying? So I have to leave a little meat all around the perimeter. And that'll leave her a little bit of work, but nothing that she can't knock out with some sandpaper by hand. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I really appreciate the support of Mountain Storm. I also want to mention that I do sell unfinished grips in various levels of completion, right up from just a block of wood that fits the frame with the holes drilled, so you don't have to worry about locating those precisely drilled holes, you know, and everything. So you can just have a block of wood and make your own grips if you have a bandsaw and all that. If you don't have all those tools, I can get them anywhere from here to a block of wood. So I had a client just recently contact me, ask me, I guess about a month or so ago, if I could make him some blanks. At that time I didn't have any material. It was also freezing in the shop. So now it's more reasonable. I have the material. I said, sure. So I made him a pair that he can finish up. Now they aren't anywhere near to this stage, but you know, with a few hours of spindle sanding and some hand sanding, he can get them there. So those saved him about half what a pair of unfinished grips cost, and then about a third of what a pair of finished grips cost. So I'm just offering these options because I know not everybody is made of money, and when you've got a Crosman 2240 and you'd really like to have some custom grips for it, and you're pretty handy, but you maybe don't have all the equipment, I'll work with you on that. All right, thanks, guys. You can get a hold of me at rw_keeton@yahoo.com. And if you need anything, holla.